All right, so I want to recap because once went past 12 o'clock, it cut off. So I was working, C, which was part of 213C, which has 363.809 grads. And we were figuring the answer in radians. So this brought down, and to put it into decimal degrees, there's 360 degrees in a circle, which is one revolution. There's 400 grads in one revolution, which is 360 degrees. So you'd say 360 divided by 400 times 363.809. I got 327.4281 degrees. And then I converted it to degrees, minutes, and seconds in my calculator. But I also took this decimal degrees, brought it up here, and multiplied it by pi over 180 to get radians. And so the radians were 5.714. And I don't really think I had anybody really bad on those particular ones. Everybody did really good. So where I saw the issue at was 14, like A, B, C, D. So A had a star beside it. So if you looked in the back of the book, the answer was 161. But I had have 160.6. But when you look at those numbers, when you add them, you want to line the decimal places up. So 23.15, 0.984, 124, and 12.5. Then I want to identify in each number which one's the farthest to the right in these numbers. I have a 15, a 5 here, 4, 4, and 3, or 5, excuse me. Out of those numbers that I put a check mark, which one is the rightmost? That would be the 4. So when you add them together, you would want to round to the 161. I had 160.634. You want it to significant digit is by the decimal point. So it's going to be, the 6 would round up to 1. So that was the answer. Again, 2.115, the 5 is the rightmost. 23.04, the 4 is the rightmost in that number. 13.8, 8 is the rightmost. 199.66, 6 is the rightmost. Out of those that I've got the bars over, which one is leftmost? It's 13.8. So our significant figures, when we add them, should only be to 1 decimal places. So that uses decimal places, so it's nice to line them all up. So this would have just round down to 38.6. Now, multiplication is a little different. Multiplication and dividing are the exact same thing. So it's the product of 127.08 and 13.1. So this time you're going to look at the significant, how many significant digits you have in each number. I'm going to go ahead and multiply them and write that down. 127.08 times 13.1. I got 166.4.748. That's my answer. This number has 5 significant figures. This one has 3. So you have to round to the 3 significant figures. So if we're counting those, 1, 2, 3. So that's where we'd stop. Would be the answer. Now, if I was doing it in powers of 10, I would do 1.66. If it's a trailing 0, we count it. So it would have been 160. Any trailing, anything that precedes a preceding 0, don't any trailings do. So I would have dropped that down to 0. So it'd be 1,660. So 3 significant figures would be here. And we would just either, if that would have been a 5, we would have rounded up. I typically round up, and since it was 4, we rounded down. Next one is dividing. Same thing, we're going to use the same principle. Okay. This has 6 significant figures, this has 4. Okay, so I'm just going to divide 4466.83 divided by 35.16. 125.4. And I need 4 significant figures. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. I think most got this one. (215) powers of 10. Just wants it in a power of 10. So what it's essentially wanting you to do is to move to 3. So you're going to have one whole number and the rest 1, 2, 3. So that one we didn't have to do anything with. We just had to write it in powers 10. So some had 4.5, some had, but you were supposed to keep it all because this one we weren't doing anything with. We just wanted to put that answer in powers of 10. B now wants that in a power of 10. Well, remember, technically they said this is could be significant, but powers of 10, I would go 1, 2, 3. If you had 2.45 times 10 to the third, but it really should be 2.450 because leading ones count as for significant figures because it wants the value in powers of 10 to the correct significant figures. So I would assume 2450 is 4 significant digits, so that's how I would write that one. Now on C, I saw a lot of them take the square root when it's actually square. That means we're going to square that, so we're going to multiply by itself. this has 5 significant digits. So I need my answer to 5 significant digits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, and I'm going to want it in the powers of 10. So this would be the number. And to put it in powers of 10, I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. Last one. It wants to sum Now, I'm going to sum them, and I'm not going to round or anything yet, because it says usually when you do these to keep everything through and round at the end. So once I get that answer, then I'm going to divide it. I'll say that 32 plus got something wrong. Got my numbers right. 32.0851. Let me add them again. 32.087 plus 1.
Okay.
Book has different numbers. My
That's 12.3.
so my solutions manual has something written wrong, but the answer was going to be right if I get the right answer. So I have sum of 32087, 1.56, 206.44. Okay, so that's right. And then this one's different, right? The divided. Yep. What point? They must have used last year's. Oh, they left the one off. Okay. So I just added, didn't round or do significant figures for this number, just brought it straight down, divided by 12.3, and I got 19.51926.829. This has 3 significant, and that has 5. So 3 is going to be the lowest. So it would be 19.5. But if I want it in powers of 10, that means I want to bring it over 1. And I saw some just do 10, but you really should say 10 to the power of 1 because we're going 1 decimal place.
That's 6 in the figures of 5. 2, 4, 6, 7.
Which one? Oh, 6. 6. So this information right here, you'll see that on a paper test. And then I'm gonna give y'all a break against conversions and significant figures. I might do just a little bit of that on the final exam. Greg, since you're still here, you got any questions? Okay. Yeah, I think your stuff was pretty thorough.